purpose of today's video, I'm going to try and make it quick, is to talk about why people have these thyroid signs and symptoms, and yet the medical doctor will come back with them and say, well, you're not far enough outside of range. Let's redo blood work in X amount of months or weeks, depending on how persistent you are. You know, there's a certain range that's set, pathologic range, and then there's a functional range. If you just look at pathological ranges, you're not going to pick up on these thyroid related problems that would drive some of these signs and symptoms. While the house is not on fire, you do not have this crazy raging thyroid problem. You still have a thyroid problem, and it's still causing these symptoms, and it still deserves to be looked at and to be treated. So I'm going to go over some of those common signs and symptoms that I see, and some of them you may know, some of them you may not know. But really common one, not necessarily common, but as soon it's a high specificity to thyroid, not necessarily sensitive. So dry, cracked heels, when I see that, I'm almost always at least asking about thyroid stuff, and very commonly we order blood work and there's a thyroid problem. Brain fog could be other things, but it is also in the group of a thyroid problem. The combination of symptoms are what indicate a thyroid problem, not just the individual ones. Trouble losing weight, the most common one, is because of the impact the thyroid has on the metabolism. A lot of the things that impact the thyroid also impact other metabolic problems that will just amplify these effects. So slow metabolism, fatigue, low energy, sluggish, trouble sleeping, cold hands and feet, dry skin, dry scalp, hair loss, hair thinning, eyebrow thinning. The outer third of the eyebrows, if you didn't know that one, is a sign of a chronic thyroid problem. A lot of these thyroid problems I see coming in have been going on since they were in high school, and they're still checking these thyroid numbers, and they're not coming back pathologic. Are you able to address these naturally? Most of the time, yes, especially if they fit into honestly, all 24 patterns that you can see on blood work can be addressed naturally. There's two ways to look at it. Either you supplement with a medication, a thyroid medication for a low thyroid problem, or you address what's driving the low thyroid problem. There are 6 categories that I have on my website that you can read about. Within those, autoimmune's the only one that you could potentially talk about that is a little bit different. The medical intervention's the same. You get thyroid medication. And so they don't test for all of these different types of thyroid problems, because they're just looking for these numbers to fit you within a certain range, and that indicates that you need to be on thyroid medication. And until that's shown and demonstrated black and white, then there's nothing that they can do most of the time unless they're willing to kind of work with you. These are things that I see all the time, and they do get better. Commonly it comes down to reducing inflammation broadly, correcting blood sugar issues, other hormonal problems are involved. You kind of have to take a holistic approach. Check out some of the other videos I have on this topic. I have quite a few thyroid videos, even going over specific blood work patterns that you can look at, and maybe you can kind of see. I'm not going to go into detail and bore everybody with that, but the purpose of this video is just to talk about the fact that I very rarely see thyroid symptoms not accompanied by functionally depressed thyroid markers. So it does exist. If you have borderline thyroid numbers, you can reach out to me specifically, or you can check out some of those other videos to try and help you kind of decipher what's the best course of action to address these things naturally. It's very rarely just take some iodine, take some selenium or zinc. Cofactor deficiencies are possibly a problem, but it's the rarity. I wish it was just take some of these certain nutrients and things get better, but it's kind of rare. So a lot of it's lifestyle changes. So if you have any specific questions about thyroid stuff, feel free to comment below. If they're personal, send me an email at doc@drtoddanderson.com. Otherwise, if you did like the video, go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to be notified of future videos. Otherwise, we'll see you in the next one.